Welcome to Finance Fundamentals for Musicians. I'm Peter McCaffrey, and today we're tackling one of the most powerful tax tools for self-employed musicians, the home office deduction. Most musicians always choose a home or an apartment that offers a dedicated space for their career. As musicians, our home isn't just where we live, it's where we practice, rehearse, teach, record, compose, and take care of simple administrative tasks like scheduling lessons and gig work. This integration of the home and work often means you are eligible for significant tax savings through the home office deduction. Now, there tends to be some confusion around this topic, so we're going to break down the rules and the math so you can claim this deduction confidently. First, let's talk about the IRS requirements. To deduct a portion of your housing costs as a business expense, there are three requirements. First, you have to have self-employment income. You cannot write off a home office against your W-2 income. Secondly, and probably the hardest one to meet, is the exclusive and regular use rule. The space you deduct must be used exclusively and regularly for your business. A simple example would be if you convert the second bedroom of your two-bedroom apartment into a music studio and use it solely for teaching and rehearsing. In this scenario, you can deduct the entire room. However, if that room also has a bed in it that you occasionally use for guests, you cannot deduct the entire room, but you can still use the home office deduction. In this scenario, you would measure out the clearly defined portion of the room that is dedicated to your business. This is such an important point. Your home office does not need to be an entire room, just a clearly defined space that you use regularly and exclusively for business. The third requirement is that this must be the principal place of your business. Now, this requirement is actually pretty easy to meet because even if you perform all around town and teach at different studios, if your home is where you conduct core activities like scheduling and lesson planning, then the office qualifies as your principal place of business. Okay, so now that we know the three requirements, let's talk about how to calculate your deduction. So there are actually two methods, and you should choose the one that offers the greatest tax benefit. But I will say up front, the first method almost never leads to a better tax deduction. It's really the lazy choice, and it's known as the simplified option. This method is quick and requires no record keeping. You simply measure your office and then you deduct $5 per square foot. So a 200 square foot studio results in a $1,000 deduction. It's also important to know there is a limit with this method. No matter how big your home office is, the maximum deduction is for 300 square feet or $1,500. The reason this method is rarely a good choice is because that $5 per square foot benefit was established over a decade ago and it was never adjusted for inflation. So while prices have been soaring, this deduction has stayed exactly the same. In a pinch though, it's still better than nothing. Now method 2 is where you can really get a big deduction. It's called the actual expense method. And there are two parts to this. You have direct expenses and indirect expenses. Direct expenses are anything you spend specifically on the office. Things like a rug, art for the walls, soundproofing, painting, furniture, recording equipment, and so on. All of these things you can write off 100% if you purchased it specifically for your office. Now, for indirect expenses, we are talking about expenses that affect the entire home or apartment. For these, you need to calculate the percentage of your home dedicated to the home office. So, for example, a 200 square foot office in a 2,000 square foot home would be 10%. You can then deduct that 10% off of all your total home expenses. For renters, this generally includes rent, renter's insurance, and utilities, including phone and internet. For homeowners, this includes quite a bit more. You have your mortgage interest, your property taxes, your home insurance, utilities, as well as all major home repairs and maintenance costs, such as roofing, HVAC, windows, plumbing, electrical, even cleaning. Homeowners also get the added bonus of getting to depreciate their home office. When all of these factors are calculated together, I've seen deductions well north of $10,000 and making a huge impact on clients' financial lives. Now, there's also a bonus benefit to having a home office that often gets overlooked. It's a very powerful deduction that potentially could double your home office deduction. Now, I'm trying to keep these videos short and sweet, so I will discuss that strategy in the next video. I hope you'll like and subscribe to this channel, and please let me know what topics you'd like me to cover in the comments section. See you next time.